And you mentioned Caley. That was the next guy I was going to bring up because he's been hot really the past couple of weeks, and it kind of took him a while to flip the script. I don't know if that was because he was in an AHL camp and it took him a while to get used to what they were doing here, but he's kind of gotten back to the old Caley, and that's been successful, don't you think?
Yeah, it's been very successful. I mean, it's hard to do his job, to go in front of the net and get beat on and get abused, and nobody wants to do that. It's a hard job, and I think Caley is trying to step up in the locker room and be more of a leader as well. He's wearing an A this year. There's a lot of adjustments going on, and I think he finally realized he had to go back to doing what he was good at, and he is very good at that.
And speaking of a guy that likes to stick his nose in there, Tab Lardner was a big acquisition for the Komets last week. What does he bring, and why is now a good time to get a guy like Tab Lardner? I mean, he scores a goal right in front in his first game in a Komets uniform.
Well, the price is right. It didn't cost him a player, for one thing. And you know he's a proven leader. He's was one of the leaders in Port Huron. He always seemed to have his best games against the Komets, and he played well in the playoffs, too. Here's a guy who's been through the wars, who understands the situation coming in, and he can add some leadership in the room.
When you take a look at some of the guys that are new to Komets fans, that are new on this roster, who have been some of the guys, just kind of what's your assessment of some of these guys? Naurato, Petrazo, you mentioned Sescon already, Reslich spent a little time here, and Musselwhite is a new guy. So
yeah, Chris Francis.
Chris Francis. What are your thoughts on some of the new guys, the new faces that Komets fans are seeing this year?
Well, no matter what a guy's background or his pedigree is, if he's coming in from an NHL camp, it does take a while to adjust. It's just like switching a job in another city. It's going to take you a while to get comfortable and to relax and do your best work. And that's kind of somewhat what these guys are going through, and there were 11 Komets back from last year. But again, you've got to learn a new coaching style, you've got to learn new systems, you've got to learn all that. I think the biggest problem for most fans is when you don't see the consistent effort. And I'm not saying any one of these guys has not been consistent, but I think that's part of what you have to judge and feel your way through is what is expected every night. And who are you playing with every night? Are you playing with different guys, and what are they like, and where do I fit? I talked to some of the guys earlier this year about how long does it take you to fit in, because you're coming in to a championship team with 11 guys back who are used to it, know what they do. They're not going to change. You have to be the one who fits into whatever they're doing, and that's tricky sometimes.
And that kind of leads into my next question, and I think I know the answer because I've been reading your articles. But is the CHL perhaps a little better than we thought?
No.
Or, yeah, that's exactly what I thought you were going to say.
No.
Because based on the numbers, as a fan looking outside in, you say, boy,
sure,
this team didn't raise its level to the CHL.
No, that's not it at all. Now, did they outgrow? Did they get older? Possibly, and it takes them longer to get going. That's part of it. They haven't had any injuries, but you look at one easy way to judge the quality of level of play is to look at the goalie numbers and compare not per team, but the individual guys, and look at what they've done in their past careers. The goalie numbers don't tend to fluctuate that much from league to league. And so you can tell that way. Guys who've been in the East Coast League, they have similar numbers. If they have similar numbers in the Central League or in the old IHL, that's pretty much where the level of play is. Another thing is the contract levels are $2,000 less a week for the salary cap in the CHL. So you're going to tell me that there's greater talent because there's 2,000 less? Where did they,
right.
How does that work? It doesn't. You just get younger. I think they got fast. This league is faster. I don't think the skill level is there. I don't see it on the defense. I don't see the passing on the defense at all. I see some speed, but I don't see the puck handling. And you don't see as many big guys on the defense either. That's a change too.
Given that, how did the Komets make an adjustment to, I guess, counter some of that speed, and not only counter that speed, but be a little quicker perhaps themselves?
Well, they got to be more aggressive. I mean, last week they were really aggressive on the forecheck, and they forced the play and they forced the action, and it really worked. That helped keep the defense did a great job keeping the other team's forwards outside. This week they didn't do it. They were standing there, and nobody seems to have an idea why. They said they weren't playing the trap, but there was 5 guys standing around between the red line and the blue line an awful lot. And how many times did you see, going against Bloomington's trap, did you see a forward turn and pass the puck back to a defenseman instead of trying to fight through? I mean, you're just playing right into their strategy. They were doing that a lot too.
Yeah, they had some sort of semi-meltdowns, I guess, in the third period
right.
This past week, and really in both games. And they're going to be tested this coming week, because they've got 3 road games. They're long trips. I know you got the sleeper bus this year, so that's an advantage when you go on a road trip. But you're taking a trip out west this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. What do you have to see in this road trip that maybe could spark this team for the rest of the season, or what are you looking for in a road trip like this?
Well, every time every year you hope to win 20 games on the road. I mean, that's about half the games, and if you do that, you're a successful team. There's 33 games on the road this year, so if you can get to 20 wins, you're doing fantastic. Right now, they're behind the pace. I think it'd be interesting to see if Nick Boucher or Kevin Ryder can really play a really strong individual game and steal one for them. I think this would be the time of the year where that would just be fantastic, because it would help everybody's confidence. It would help them relax a little bit if they could hold the team to 1 or no goals on the road, and really be right that game, make some game-saving saves, some game-changing saves right off the bat, and let everybody relax a little bit.
Boucher always has been good on the road, especially when it comes to the playoffs. Ask the people up in Michigan about that.
Yeah.
He's been great on the road throughout the time that he's been here with the Komets. But final question, as we wrap things up, going forward, what is the one thing that you'd like to see the Komets do that can help them turn around the season at this point? Because we're still early in the season. All is not lost. Right. But you got to see some sort of turnaround.
They got to turn the dogs loose. They got to play aggressive. They cannot sit back. They cannot trap anymore. This team, we talked about how this team looked slow in the beginning of the year. They're not a slow team. There is plenty of speed on this team. They have to force it, and they have to take advantage of it before the opponents do. They can't let the opponents set the tone of the game. I think we've seen that easily this year. When they react, they're in trouble. They have to be the one forcing the play. When they have to react, they think, and then they're lost. If they're thinking out there, they're in trouble. They have to be the team that is forcing the action, and when they've done that, they've been successful.
I think my wife has said that. If I'm thinking, I'm in trouble.
I'm not saying anything about forcing the action with you and your wife either, though.
Hey, we got a baby coming up here in 3 weeks, so no forcing needed. That'll wrap it up on that note for this week's edition of Inside the Zone. Blake, you'll be back here next Monday to talk about hopefully 3 Komets wins on the road, and we thank you for logging on to Wayne.com.